It's a really interesting question when we talk about a God-defining moment or when we hear the Spirit of God. And for me, it takes me right back to when I was 18 years of age. I was attending an Easter camp and I was actually wanting to hear the voice of God. And I'd heard others tell their story about how they'd heard the voice of God. And so the camp went, and on the Sunday night of the camp, we had what we called then was an altar call. Still remember the old orange seats that were there. And I went down and knelt and I said to myself, okay, God, this is my moment where I hear from you. And so I was there praying and I felt the emotion building up with me. The tears were almost there. And just when I was about to hit that sweet spot, the counsellor from the camp came and put his hand on my shoulder and said, Kelvin, is there anything I can do for you? And I can remember looking up at him and saying, or thinking to myself, you're too early. I haven't had this emotional experience yet. And so the moment went. It didn't happen. But I still remember as an 18-year-old reflecting on that over the next day and thinking, actually, I didn't need it. I already had a connection with God. I already was hearing God's voice, so I didn't need to hear his voice in someone else's manner. And so that for me has been a really important story in my whole 40 years of ministry as an officer, is recognizing that God speaks to us as individuals and how he speaks to me will always be different to how he speaks to someone else. I think he takes into account our personalities, who we are, and so we hear his voice in different ways. So for me, it's always been very important to make sure actually I'm in tune with God. I am hearing what he's saying to me, and one of the ways I test that is often with affirmation from others to say, actually, Kelvin, this makes sense. This excites me. Actually, I sense that we're on the right pathway. So that's really important for me as well.